You're going through my car. All right, here we go.
We got you, Aaron. We got you, brother.
Hello and welcome, guys, to another Heartstorm call. This is the last of the month, the last Heartstorm of June. So we're gonna be dropping some gems today. I was chopping it up with some of the kings here, kind of playing around about what we should talk about today. And there's a couple of different things that we want to bring up and kind of play around and see what comes up for you guys. I know my guy Alex mentioned um this beautiful quote that I think could be a great way for us to kind of get this ball rolling. Life is a story of voluntary sacrifice. Is what my brother Alex Rey del Norte shared with me, and I think that that I want to start the conversation there with you, Kings. Like, let's talk about voluntary sacrifice because I really want to talk about um ownership and responsibility today. So. Um, my question to you guys would be, I guess, what is an area where you're choosing to voluntarily sacrifice something right now in your life? I see Sean's hands up. Go ahead, King. My guy's ready to go. Like, I ain't even done. Like, I even put the question mark in it yet. Yeah, go ahead, my brother.
You know, guys, so I've sacrificed a lot in my life. I have, and it's for the truth. It's not for anything else. Um, People who don't know me and don't understand me might look at me on the outside and say he's crazy, he's giving up a lot, but I sacrifice everything for the truth. And so a quote that comes up for me that when you ask that, Carlos, that's why I raised my hand so quickly, is if we're lonely when we're by ourselves, then we're in bad company. And what do I mean by that? It means that if we don't take the time, when we take the time to voluntarily sacrifice time to do goofy matrix stuff, we develop ourselves. And when we develop ourselves, we actually have a lot of impact in this realm. So something that I'm voluntarily sacrificing is comfort. You know, the other year I moved back home because I was on the path to truth. And part of my truth is working on my community projects. So part of what I'm sacrificing right now is comfort so that I can really dial in my community projects and that I can really offer something even more potent for the world so that it actually has a big impact.
Bro, I just want to piggyback on that because I feel triggered right now. I feel like you were attacking me personally at the personal level, and that's disrespectful. But we'll let it slide. No, I feel you 100%. That's definitely the season that I'm in as well. I'm sacrificing comfort as well. I don't get me wrong, I love my hometown. I love, being able to do that, but there's very few things that compare to the level of comfort that I get here in Phoenix, Arizona. And even there's a lot of states that don't even have the level of comfort that we have here. And that's definitely was a challenge for me to make the decision to decide to, okay, I'm gonna step away from all of this comfortability. The fact that I can like just on my phone, hey, let me just order all my groceries and they drop it off at the door. And I can go and call a self-driving car or all those things. I'm not able to do that in my hometown. Like that's not an option. That's just not a thing. And honestly, even though we might call it a sacrifice, I'm excited and it's something that I look forward to. And I don't even feel like I'm missing out on anything because I feel like all those things were still gonna be there. It's just more about me stepping away from them in this season, if that makes sense. I see Alice trying not to crash the car real quick.
Yeah,
What's
right.
up, bro?
No, just I was letting in Julio. Buenos noches.
Oh,
We got a new king in here. Welcome.
What's up? What's up? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today.
welcome, Julio. Welcome. Does that make sense? What does that make sense? I should.
100%, brother.
Beautiful.
Well,
Um,
well, and the thing is you're. It's like you're sacrificing it because you have an enormous vision, and when we have an enormous vision, we're gonna have to move things out of the way, and we're gonna have to do some uncomfortable stuff, man. So I really acknowledge you for doing that, man.
Thank you, King. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. How about you, Rey del Norte? I would love to hear from you on this. This is your topic. Like,
Well, yeah. Thanks for including me, gang. Well, what shows up for me is immediately is thanks for sharing, Sean. That's a cool breakthrough. And since I work with you personally and professionally, I acknowledge what you're sharing. Way to step into your personal leadership. And what shows up for me is instant gratification. And knowing when to actually appreciate it and not just react to it, and also knowing when to have to delay gratification. That's what shows up for me for sacrifice.
oh, we're getting into the good stuff now. We're getting into the good shit right now. So yeah, let's talk about instant gratification. Let's talk about that and delayed gratification because I know that it's becoming easier and easier, like I shared, to just tap into that instant gratification for everything, for food, for social media, for a little bit of everything. But I'd love to hear about from you guys about what are some of the things that you guys are choosing right now to really honor that delayed gratification. And maybe my brother Aaron, I'd love to hear from you. What's coming up for you, my brother? Or maybe Ken. I'd love to hear from you, Kings, as well.
Sure. In regards to what again?
So we're talking about voluntary sacrifice and
Okay, so
yeah,
what it
delayed
is that
gratification.
I'm sacrificing or the delayed gratification?
A little bit of both. Yeah, I guess you could dive in for both if you want. Up to you.
Cool. So I'm trying to find a spot that's gonna be secluded. Yeah. Well, for me right now, Kings, what I'm experiencing is this drive and this want to work and to neglect my family and just go balls to the wall. So I'm finding that being the head of my family, like I still need to build relationships with them. And it's been fucking hard. Um, it's been fucking hard because I just want to like shake them and be like, "You don't get it yet, do you?" And just get people to like understand it like quickly. But I know that good relationships take time. So that's really what's coming up for me, which it's I'd imagine is kind of like you guys are you more established kings already like, yeah, he's getting to the good stuff now or whatever you guys are thinking, but that's what I'm experiencing right now. It's like I want that vision that I have to be out in the three-dimensional world so that way I can stop getting shit shoveled into my mouth from my family. I guess that hopefully that makes any sense. But that's the delayed gratification. The work that I'm doing is specific actions that I'm doing is it's been absolutely miraculous. Like I can't even describe to you. Where every single morning I do the same exact thing, and I take an hour and it's been an hour and it's evolved to an hour and a half. I take it just for me, just for me. And even 2.5 hours sometimes, and it's just amazing because I just dive right into work, and I'm so clear, and I'm so sovereign in who I am. So that's specifically the work I'm doing instead of diving directly into some shit like drinking coffee and scrolling on social media, which I didn't really used to scroll, but mostly it's the coffee is the dopamine factor for me. I'm complete.
Bro, that's such a powerful share, bro. Um, first of all, this is why we have this space so that we can express what's going on inside us and what we're feeling about our relationships and work, and it could definitely be frustrating to have those relationships with people, and um sometimes we want them to change a little bit quicker than they're ready to, and it can be frustrating. So that's beautiful, bro. And it's a beautiful example of delayed gratification, and one of the best places to start is that morning routine, bro. Like, not everyone's able to do an hour and a half, right? But like, just having that choosing in the morning to like not go and use your phone, like you said, or drink a bunch of coffee. Like, you're actually giving that time to yourself and delaying that gratification. That's some king shit. So shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
What's up, Sean? What's up, Sean?
So it's really important that we understand what type of gratification we want, because guys, we go through this in the realm a lot. It's like we live in a really interesting place. I call it clown world. So it's really important to know thyself and to understand what we're really working for. Because when we don't know ourselves and we don't know what we're working for, we're living someone else's dream. So delay, like this instant gratification, it's like, okay, I gotta go make currency and I gotta go do this and I gotta go do that. But it's just like, is that really what we want and what we need to live our best adventure of a lifetime? So it's like anyone who's like listening to this conversation, anyone who is really on a path of um doing something that isn't imposed upon you, I really congratulate you, because it takes a lot of work to understand who we are and like what we really, really, really want. Because there's so many damn things that are imposed upon us. Oh, you want this, you want that, you got to do this, you got to do that. So for all of us kings to step back and say like that's great and those are great options, but like what the heck do I really want? Like, what is going to make my heart sing? What is going to help me have the adventure of a lifetime? What is going to help me have the best life of my on purpose? Like, this is some serious courageous shit. Maybe in some other timeline or some other time, it would have been like swinging a sword or doing something crazy. Like, we live in a very interesting time, and like we have to give up a lot in order to get what we really want. But when we really truly realize that we didn't give up anything, and that when we really give up everything in order to get what we really want, we're not giving up anything. We really are going for our adventure of a lifetime, and that's the best, in my opinion, the best path that we can take. Because when we don't follow orders, when we don't just take people's word for it, like, we really do have an amazing adventure and we have an amazing impact on people. So anyone who's listening to this, it may seem like you're giving up a lot, but you're not giving up anything. In fact, if we live into that life that we're supposed to, in quotations, we're giving up everything to gain nothing. Literally. We really are on a hero's journey here, Kings. We really are on a hero's journey. And it's going to take a lot of cognitive dissonance. It's going to take a lot of rock throwing and stone throwing. It doesn't matter. We have to follow our heart and our path that we know to be true. And when it may seem like at first we're giving up a lot, but we're not giving up anything. We're really gaining everything as a result of really answering our heart's call.
Jesus, my brother, what's going on, bro?
Come on, if nobody's gonna say something to that, oh my god.
Go ahead, Aaron. You got it, my brother. You got it.
Go,
Dude,
Aaron.
that's
Go.
that's
Wait,
like
welcome,
my
Julio.
god.
Welcome to your first call, Julio. We're cooking here in the kitchen. This is
Right
a 5-course meal.
in.
I know you're getting kind of jumped in here, bro. Like, so we're not sorry, and thanks for joining us.
No, don't be sorry at all. I was, as you guys were talking, I was like, damn, this is fire. I'm so grateful to be here. You guys are really, connecting with your heart space and everything, and I see that and I resonate with that, and I say, hell yeah, let's go. Thank you guys for letting me be in.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for joining, brother.
Yeah, Sean. So to just piggyback off what you're saying, just it reminds me of opportunity cost. I'll bring it to Dr. Joe Dispenza's work because that's what I'm listening to right now, and he says ultimately there's infinite possibilities in the field of all possibilities. There's infinite timelines that we can live into, but Sean, what you're saying is gold because when you choose your treasure and you know it in your heart as that's what it is, um, anything else is secondary, and anything else is a distraction to your heart's goal. And what I see is that we also got to live multi-dimensional lives because if you're a painter and you're just painting all day, you're just mindlessly just painting. Now you're not a painter. You're a freaking psychopath. You're a crazy person, right? So I'd love to hear maybe a little more perspective into that if you have it.
Yeah, in my experience, the truth is apparent.
Show your face, bro. We can't see your mouth. Show your face.
You can't see me?
Now I
Okay. So
see that
it's like
pretty.
it's like, guys, we live in a world of confusion and deception. But if we really look at our lives and our experience here, the truth is apparent. It's just apparent. And the major problem that I see that people have is that they fight that truth. They go with the impositions, oh, you should do this, you should do that. And a lot of the time, those perspectives come from a loving place. It comes from maybe a mom or a dad or a brother or a sister or a friend or whatever that really thinks that they have the best intention for you, and they might. But that doesn't mean that that's your path. So it's like, that's why it's so important to know ourselves and take the time to rest and recover. For me, because when we do that, the truth is apparent. It doesn't need to explain itself, very much at least. It doesn't have a long dissertation. It doesn't have a long explanation. It's just simple. And some people call it God, some people call it spirit, whatever you want to call it. We know what we're here to do. And it's morally about not being confused about all the different opinions and energies around us that influence us. So it's like, if we're feeling confused, it's time to step away from things. Maybe not like physically, but mentally and emotionally and spiritually and energetically. We step away and we spend time in nature. And the truth is in very few words. It's not a long dissertation. It's not a freaking speech. It's like a 1-word, 2-word, 3-word thing. And when we can find ourselves back to those simplicities, then we know exactly what our truth is and what the heck we're doing here. If we when I find myself in long-winded answers, there's a time for that. There is. But like when it comes to me, whoever that is and whatever that is, it's a series of simple words and phrases. And if this complexity doesn't align with that, if the complexity doesn't grow roots to this simplicity, then it's not our path. Our path, like a simple little seed, it doesn't even say words. It just plants itself and it grows. If our truth isn't, in my opinion, a simple seed that has like a couple of banners around it, it's confusion and it's subversion. So at the baseline of it, everything is very simple here. Everything is very, 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 very simple. It can be deduced to less than a word. And if we're feeling confused, we need to come back to that simplicity. so that when we grab a hold of that simplicity, we can water it and the roots grow strong. And when we root ourselves in this simplicity of our truth, if that's what we want to call it, then the roots grow deep, the branches grow tall. And that's really it, man. Like, the truth is simple. It's not a convoluted book. It's not a dissertation. It's one frickin' word or two frickin' words. That's it. And that's the game of this reality, guys. Everything is complex. Everything
What are
is
your
complex.
2 words?
My 2 words are contribution and generosity. Because who I am is generous.
Sean,
And what
I
does
think
that
that
look
was
like on the
3.
court of life?
Sean, I think that was 3 words.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for checking me.
What does
But-
that
but-
look like on the court of life right now?
What it looks like on the court of life right now is working on the simple things that I love to do, which is my Twice as Fit project, and supporting my friends and my family. That's it.
What do
That's
you
it.
do when things get complex or complicated?
I push them away. Complexity is delusion. Complexity is illusion.
What do you see as complexity? I'm curious.
Complexity is when we need a 9-hour dissertation, when we need to bitch and moan, when we need to explain ourselves for 20 minutes to somebody. That's complexity.
Are you sure that's not complications and complexity is something different? What do you
No.
think about that notion? So
No.
complexity and complications are the same thing?
No. Strength and truth is very few words. And if we can stay in that mindset, then then no matter what shows up, a complexity shows up, that's great. We come back to a few basic words and a few basic principles that take literally 0 time to explain, and then we can grow our complexity from there. Complexity is what has gotten humanity into the bind that it's in today. They don't understand the simplicity, so they can't dive into the complexity. If we understand our simplicity, then we can dive into complexity and not get lost in the sauce. But in my
Is
opinion,
it safe? Is it
in my-
safe to say?
in my opinion, Kings, complexity is what's ruining this world because they don't have a basis of simplicity. When things are getting
That sounds like a learning thing. It doesn't sound. I mean, like, if you think about it, though, like nature and things are complex. The
No,
seasons
they're
are
not.
complex.
No, they're not.
Well, here's the definition that I have for complications and complexities. Complications is what I'm hearing from you is confusion, and the resultant is people are out of their lane. And complexity, I've always viewed complexity as layered simplicity. So, like, an example is a very simple movement is walking, and a very complex movement is throwing a baseball. And they both kind of require you to move your arms and legs. And if you're really a nerd like me and understand movement, it all comes back to locomotion. So what I see with like throwing a pitch, that's a very complex motion. It's not complicated, but it's complex. And like there's this sense of layered simplicities, like bringing your arm back, really bringing your leg up, and like these are all very accentuated forms of simplicity. So that's my definition of complexity versus complications. And what you're talking about, complications, in my experiences, are things to work through. And those are like the tangles to not react to. Rather, they're the opportunities to really be calm and focus as best as you can, whatever that might look like, not give away your energy. And going back to ownership, like really owning your shit during those situations so you don't lose your shit and then you give up your shit. Because I sense like for me, I want to really be able to protect my heart when I need to. And I do that through my words and also my solar plexus, because the heart actually doesn't protect itself like all the rest of the body. The heart is open, so we work with it through other parts of our body.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And what I'm really trying to get at is that complications, like you're talking about, and complexities have really put the state of humanity in a very confused state. And the
What
only
do you
reason,
guys think?
let me finish. Stop cutting me off. And the reason for the confusion is because we don't understand simplicity. If we understand simplicity and the root of things, then we can dive into complexities and complications. But if we don't understand the simplicity of things, which, gang, I don't care what anyone agrees or disagrees, this realm is very simple. It's like 1 + 1 is 2. And when we understand that, when we understand the root of simplicity, we can dive into complications and complexities and not get lost in the sauce. And then we can always bring it back to our truth or our simplicity. Everything in this realm is beyond simple. When we really break it down, everything is very, very simple. And this overcomplication of things has led to a delusion, an illusion, and a lot of pain and suffering. We can say it's not necessary, but it is what it is. We need to understand simplicity. And then we have I think of simplicity as like a carbon steel and iron foundation, something that a 900-story skyscraper can use to bob and weave with the wind. And we can dive into the complexity and the complications, but it always comes back to a simple phrase or word sequence so that we can keep ourselves grounded and not get lost in the sauce. This is something that humanity has lost, or is, whether it's lost or it's gone. When we understand the foundation, we can bob and swing with the wind. If we don't understand simplicity, we don't have a foundation. And when things start being complicated, like you're saying, Alex, and complex, the skyscraper breaks in half and kills 10,000 people.
And I'm wondering, Sean, if Carlos can touch on the palm trees skyscraper thing, because I know that's like your whole brand, I'm pretty sure.
It is in my book, Let's in a Week, which you can get on Amazon right now.
Woo!
Hey, yeah, I definitely can, and I hear you, Aaron. I hear you, Sean and Alex. You guys are sharing some really powerful things. And the palm tree analogy that Aaron is talking about, and it's exactly what Sean is describing right now, is the importance of being a palm tree, meaning we have deep roots that are grounded in our values, that are grounded in what matters to us and what we want. But we're also flexible with our approach. We are flexible in how we achieve the goals we have. Because sometimes there's storms in life, but you see a palm tree, it'll bend, but because it has that strong root system, it will come right back to center. And I think that's so important. And I love sharing real shit. So I'll share something real with you guys as well. Because as I hear you guys speak and we're talking about complexity and simplicity, I like to talk about tools and things that I've done to really help me simplify things. And I want to acknowledge that the fact that this realm and this world is really simple. But there's a lot of things that come with it that are not easy. And this is what I mean by this. It's about to be 3 years, like next month, I believe. I challenged myself to grab my journal. I challenge you guys to do the same and wrote down at the top, what do you want? And it took me like 3 months to actually write it down. And I was really mad at myself. I was really upset. And I was really mad and upset at myself because I wasn't honoring how challenging it is to actually sit down with that simplicity that we're talking about. How difficult it is for us to actually remove the extra fuss, the extra shit that might complicate and make things more complex. And actually sit with myself and write down, this is what I want. I want this. I want this. And once I actually sat down and I did it, like it was really more about like the decision of sitting down and doing it. And I've done it a billion times after that. But like that first time, it took me I literally wrote down the prompt on my journal. It took me 3 months because I didn't know. I never asked myself, what do you want? like truly, like out of if every like what do you want? And once I wrote it down, it gave me so much clarity. It also helped simplify my decision making skill process because I know what the fuck I want. Like I know what the fuck I want in business. I know what I want in life. I know what I want in family. So it's really easy for me to choose what's for me and what's not. But I also want to acknowledge that it was a very fucking hard journey for me to get to that point of I'm ready to write down what I want. Even though I knew that it's not final, like it's not like when I wrote it down, that's it, that I couldn't change it later on. But it was just that acknowledgement that hey, this is truly actually, like Sean was saying, my truth. And by me writing it down, I chose to honor that truth. I don't know if y'all hear me cooking, but we're cooking.
You cooking, King Carlos. You
We're
cooking, bro.
cooking. Absolutely. I choose to add to that. I noticed, King Carlos, I'm in the area right now where that's exactly what I'm doing. Oh, actually, President Carlos, Mr. Trump. No, yeah, so that's actually the area I'm in right now because I realized, like, frankly, I've had so many different ideas and so many like different things that I really want to do in my life, but I'm trying to do it all at once, and I'm noticing I'm confusing my subconscious mind, or I have been in the past, confusing my subconscious mind where, okay, I want to go here, and then I want to go there, and then I want to try this, and I want to do that, all within the same year, instead of actually just deciding, okay, this is what I want and why, or saying, well, this would be kind of be cool, but I don't need to decide to visit, write down, I want to visit friggin' 50 different countries, because it's going to happen, or it's not going to happen. But I got to start with the first one. And I think this is all coming down to the decision, making the decision of what it is that I want. Because I tend to try and keep things, not I, but my brain, I'm gonna give a little separation. My brain tends to try to keep things open. So that way I don't have to make a real decision. So that's what I want to share on what I want. And I'm literally in this process right now. So I love that we're talking about this right now.
Can I
Thanks
share,
for sharing.
bro? Can I share a blessing? Because you're dropping gems right now. You're dropping gems. Um, so
I'm
because
open to it. I'm open to it.
love it. Okay, I got you. Say less, say less. Thank you for being a king. Um, because I remember vividly that season, bro. Like I remember how challenging it was. I just came off a breakup, like breakup after 4 years being with someone. I was midway through my master's degree. It was very challenging. But what I wanna the seed that I want to plant in you and anyone that might be listening to this as well, is especially when you're writing down your goals and what is it that you want, and you're choosing what goals you want to focus on now. Ask yourself, like, look at all your goals together and ask yourself, are these contradictory or complementary? Because sometimes we work so hard and we have a goal in this direction and we have a goal and they're both great goals, but they're going in different directions. So you end up going nowhere. And that was an issue that I had personally because I wanted to do many, many things, but it was contradictory goals, like goals that were fighting each other. And when I started to really dive into that, I'm like, okay, what goals are complementary? What goals actually build on each other? Everything started really coming together and like literally building on itself. Like it's that really the holistic approach. And does that make sense? Do you think that's helpful?
Yeah, that's fire. Thank you.
I got you, my brother. Sean, I see your hand up. What's up, my brother?
You know, as men, we're natural problem solvers. And like, I made the mistake early on of wanting to solve all the big issues. But guys, we don't need to solve all the issues. If we solve a couple or even one, that's plenty. It really is. I noticed that me, especially as men who really have a good heart, who really see something better for this world, we want to solve everything. We don't need to solve everything. It's an unwinnable battle, guys. Pick one thing at a time. We don't need to solve all the world's problems. If we could solve one in this time that we have here, that's freaking plenty, guys.
Fucking facts. I agree. I've seen it so many times, and I've seen it with high level professionals too. That want to solve all the problems, and they don't end up solving anything. And honestly, Sean's right. Like, focus on solving one. That's what I do. I focus on solving one problem, and then once the problem solved, okay, on to the next. And that's the thing. Like, it's not like you're saying that you're gonna not think about the problems ever again, but understanding that you're a lot more powerful when you're instead of diffusing your energy, you're actually like directing your energy to one problem and cutting and using that water to break through that rock. And yeah, so that's beautiful, bro. That's a gem. That's 100% a gem. Julio, I see you in there. There's no way I'm not gonna call on you. What's coming up for you, my brother? Because I know we're talking about a lot of pretty deep stuff, but you sound like a pretty deep guy yourself. What's coming up for you as you hear this conversation?
There was a lot. There was a lot. I was super resonating with some of what you guys were saying about complexity. Same with like simplicity. Like I believe that we're really easy to manipulate when we get too complex. Like when we're like using logic about logic about logic about logic. It's easy to confuse people, and it's happening all the time. I mean, it literally happens every time we look at a screen. You know. So I'm really passionate about that. We talked about delayed gratification. That's a huge one. I just moved into a new. This is my. I live here right now, and
Woo!
Congrats, King.
yeah.
Congrats. We love to
Thank
see.
you, thank you,
Congrats on the move in, brother.
thank you. And I'm a little far away from people. You know, I've lived here before, but it's been a few years, and like it's just the time. And so I know that, you know, if I'm not careful about how I'm delaying gratification or not, like other things start spiraling out of the way, you know, and it doesn't. It's not good. And so there's a level of like relationship building with that because you also don't want to burn out and just like bully yourself into doing things, you know. But there's a ramp up and there's a way to coach yourself into high levels of productivity and delaying the gratification. Um, yeah, I mean, I have so much to say about all that. The delaying gratification is so huge. Um, I'm still working on that one. So thanks for including me in the conversation.
If you don't mind, we're all here, judgment free zone, of course. Like, what are some areas that you're working on for to improve your delayed gratification? Like, if you don't mind.
Sure, sure. Um, it basically comes down to what content I'm letting into my brain. That's the one word answer. You know, it doesn't really, you know, we can go into specifics about what each content is and what it does or this or that, or you know what it does to us. But really, it's like, am I being intentional about what I'm putting in my brain, like what I'm reading, what I'm seeing, who I'm talking to? All that stuff makes a difference, man. It makes each of them makes that 1% difference. And if you're foundationally in the wrong place, because maybe you're living in whatever, you know, we all do it, live in a state of fear or live in a state of lack or live in a whatever, all of your decisions go in that place. It unravels a lot of things. So for me, it's all about the right content, you know, reading the right books, getting around the right people. Um, in the mornings, I've been working on delaying lots of gratification throughout the day to like mess with the productivity levers in my brain and like food and gym and all that, you know? So I'm like trying to figure out like when for example, and it's different every day, of course, but it's like when I should read or like when I should watch that YouTube video with Alex Hormozy or like when I should, you know, call Aaron and have a chat or like when, you know, because each of those, like, here's the thing is like when we're doing so many, like I'm pretty busy. I like to stay busy. I'm doing a lot of things. I'm thinking about a lot of things. Each time that I'm switching from one task to another, it's like starting the car from scratch, right? Or the plane on the runway. Like it takes more energy to get back into that flow state. So when there's a lot of things going on and we really need that flow state to produce good work or you know be sharp, etc. Every time that I'm switching or breaking my concentration, I have to re-put that plane on the runway, use all that fuel to get back up in the air, And then I have a few hours, let's say 2 to 3 hours of like really solid focused work session before my butt hurts, or I want to, you know, go take a drink of water or something, you know? So I'm really focused on that deep work stuff and seeing how I can hack myself to essentially work less hours, but work harder those hours, or more effective those hours. I find that the sharpness, like the mental sharpness, by not being into distractions is really awesome. Really difficult in practice some days, but you know, we learn every day. So
Julio, thank you for your communication, man. I can tell that you have a very potent voice, and I really appreciate that, man. Thank you.
likewise, thank you.
Thank you.
That's powerful. Really, really powerful. Alex, do you want to add to what Julio's saying?
Well, guys, this is never a disappointment. Y'all always show up and cook in the kitchen. So I just want to acknowledge all y'all for that. Fucking A right, King. We cooking in that kitchen. We cooking in that kitchen. There is always heat. Woo! Woo! We yeah, no, I'm just always so curious. You know, what's showing up for me is how expansive creativity is, and how exploring that complexity in nature. That's what I like to do, which I'm going to do after this call. Go out and give it all to nature. But then on the court, it's so simple. I see it as like a paradigm. I see the paradigm as like simplicity and complexity, and our filter helps us navigate the complications. Um, I like to see things in like threes, and I like to see things visually and describe them that way, because it allows us to all kind of have our own human experience. And what I'm vibing on, gang, is that humans are looking to receive learning that's more experiential, so we can experience it for ourselves and we can take it on voluntarily. So I appreciate spaces like this where we can kind of explore the head and the emotional space. And my prayer for everybody here, I'm blessing you all. And it's, may you walk with this and like take all this mental work and this heart work and just go out and do it. I think that there's such a great time to like chop it up in the kitchen, and then we go out in the field. So timing shows up for me regarding ownership. A lot of the times it's not just what we are taking ownership of, but it's what time we do. There's a time and a place for things, and that takes real leadership to know the difference and be there. And like, and as Sean's saying, keep things simple. Am I going to talk about this? Am I going to talk about that? So as always, Kings, it's great to develop my leadership. These calls have been really helpful for me. And what I'm curious about, the chemist in the corner out in New Jersey, we haven't heard from our boy Ken. And Ken's always chopping it up over there, East Coast style. So I'm curious if our guys got anything for us today. What's going on?
I appreciate the invite. Thank you. I apologize for bringing it back. You know, I'm going to do some hop skipping here, but I was really listening in on what Sean was contributing, and I didn't really know what I was going to be able to contribute today, but the more I kept listening, the more I kept hearing a lot of a prior conversation that I had had. So for reference, my niece, she just graduated high school. You know, so I'm talking to an 18-year-old, and I am in my 30s. I am 30. And so it's this conversation, and just for a little more reference, just so you guys know, we're not very close, my brother and I, so I don't see my niece very often. So growing up, we were very close when she was a baby, but like actually growing, maturing as a young adult, I didn't see her very much. So our conversations are very not very often, you know, they're very scarce. And so I'm talking to this, you know, young adult fresh out of high school, and I'm like kind of piggybacking off of what Sean was saying. Perspective, right? You're coming out of high school, and your world, like I told her, I'm like, I try to explain it to you the way I felt it coming out and being in your shoes. I come out of this microcosm, which to me was my whole freaking world. It was my entire universe. And then you come out into the world and nobody really prepares you for this shit. And it turns out that like that little world that you lived in, there really wasn't all that much to it. And there's so much more out there. And you realize that not everybody is a piece of shit and people aren't all bullies and there aren't like this little clique of nerds. And like when you come out into the world and you realize like there's a lot of people just like you and there's a lot more like normal out in the world than there is like depravity and weird people. And so I was trying to explain to her, I'm like, life is so complex. And so like what Sean was saying, getting to figure yourself out is one of the most beautiful things you can experience because like I told her, it's like you've grown up and being like a kid, like as even though she's not a kid, but like being a kid, I'm like, all you had was people telling you what to do, your parents, your teachers, you know, any kind of figure of authority, any kind of adult, anybody basically older than you because they're like, you know, I know, you don't. So like everything's control. Everything is telling you what to do, how to do it, where to go, how to think. And it's like, you now have the freedom, and that's a scary thing, but it's a beautiful thing. You now have the freedom to discover yourself. What do you think? What do you want? What do you believe? You know, what do you aspire to? And I'm like, that's, you have the rest of your life to figure that out, but it's quite an undertaking. And so I gave her what made me start this whole conversation was I gave her a book. It's called The Defining Decade by Meg J, if anyone's ever heard of it. And I told her, I'm like, you know, this book is irrelevant to me because I already read it and I'm already 30, so I'm past my decade. I read it late, unfortunately, but you know, it's still useful information. And I realized I was like, this book may never be useful to me again, but this is literally the chapter that she's entering now. Is these next 10 years of your life are going to make your entire life. You know, the foundations that you set now are the foundations that you're going to lean in and lean hard on. And I want you to also consider that the mistakes that you make, even though they're necessary, just consider that these are the mistakes that you're also going to take with you for the rest of your life. And so it was a really deep conversation, and I'm glad. I'm so grateful that I was able to have it and that she was as receptive as she was. Excuse me, because I feel like a lot of kids her age are like, yeah, whatever, shut up, I don't care, back on my phone. But like she really, when we do have these conversations, like I see it in her eyes, she really does value what I have to say, and I appreciate the fact that, you know, like I told her, a lot of the conversation stemmed from like, you know, it does suck having to grow up from coming from a broken home and dealing with traumas as a child. Like it really fucks you up. It fucked me up, fucked a lot of my friends up. And I'm like, and you also lived that firsthand, and I'm sorry that you had to go through that. But every generation that goes by, we're learning these lessons better and better. And I'm like, I impart this onto you so that you can take it and do even more with it than I did. Cause you know, I'm like I told her, like I'm 30 and I'm still trying to figure it out. But in what I have experienced in my little window, I would love to share that with you so that you don't go into this next chapter of life like wondering what the hell's going on like I did, you know? So I know a lot of you guys were along the same age, but you know, this little differences in a year or two, especially with the way things are going nowadays and the way things move so fast, 6 months can make a huge difference. So I mean, like I said, I'm 30 and I'm still figuring that out. So it's useful information regardless. Just being able to explore and wholeheartedly seek what it is that is your calling, because the only way you'll be able to discover it is looking within yourself, as Sean was saying.
Bro, that is so powerful. And there's a few things that I want to touch on what you said for sure. Um, it, um, you know, you guys gave me a good challenge today because I'm trying to figure out how to land the plane. We got about 5 minutes left, and I'm like, okay, how can we land this plane with all the gems that you guys are sharing?
Dude,
Let's bring it on. I think I can do it. I think I can do it. So,
please
um,
come back to the plane landing. Everyone talks about clearing the one-way, bro.
but yeah, you got to land the plane too. That's so important. That's so important. And okay, so there's a few things that are coming up for me as we're bringing, because we're talking about a lot of amazing things. First things first, Ken, since you're the last person that I heard speak, shout out to you for being a mentor, bro. Shout out to you for being a badass and being willing to help someone and support someone. Um, and I love that you actually took the time to do that, to go and pour into this someone else. Like, you didn't have to do that. You could just go and live your fucking life, but you were like, no, actually, like, I'd rather give you these lessons to save you the scars. And that's real king shit. And so I want to make sure I honor that. Because that's time, energy, and attention that you invest into someone that you didn't have to. And that's a true mentor. That's real. So thank you for that. And honestly, like um that brings me to what I wanted to read for you guys as well. So I appreciate that. Ken, um in the Young Kings Blueprint, right? For the work that we're doing here with Young Kings University, in page 46, we talk about honey and vinegar, and I think what you just shared is a great example of someone using that tool wisely. And this is what, and I'll just read this over so that we can remember what the honey and vinegar principle is. Shout out to our brother Michael Kanta, who shared that principle with us. Um, Honey and vinegar, balancing encouragement and critique. To grow your tribe, you need to master the art of balancing honey, which is encouragement, and vinegar, which is critique. It's easy to give praise, but real growth comes when you're willing to call people out constructively, just like Ken did. Use honey to motivate. Be generous with your encouragement. Let people know when they're doing great. Uplift those around you and create a culture of support. But also make sure you use vinegar to correct. Don't be afraid to give hard feedback. If someone's slacking, or of course, tell them, be direct, but not cruel. Your goal is to help them grow, not tear them down. And most importantly, know when to switch. Some situations call for more honey, others need vinegar. The key is knowing when to use each one. If all you give is vinegar, people will resent you. If all you give is honey, they'll never improve. So I just want to share that with you guys because um this is why the blueprints are important, because we are highlighting exactly what a king is, and Ken just outline the epitome of what a king does, like really actually stepping into mentorship in that way. And another thing that I wanted to share on, to keep it within in the ingredients analogies, and this is a shout out to my guy Julio here for dropping so many gems. um when you're talking about being mindful about the content that you allow in, it's so crucial in today's world, and the fact that you're being intentional about choosing what you're actually going to be let in is so important. And one of the stories that came up for me when I heard you share that is the story that Jim Rohn shared like 50 years ago. It's a really, really powerful story about the tea and the poison. And it's a really powerful metaphor. But if you have a cup of tea and someone drops in one drop of poison, you got a problem. If someone drops in a whole cup of poison, you're dead. But what if someone drops in? Actually, that's not even it. What? Okay, never mind. That's even the wrong quote. I'll tell you guys from the top of my head. So Jim Rohn talks about this story directly about how we all have a cup of tea, right? And it's up to us to decide what we're gonna let into that tea. You might have a friend who puts some sugar in there, and you're like, yeah, put that sugar in there. But you might also have friends or media or whatever that might want to put some poison in there. And it's very important that we're mindful about being like, no, don't put that in my cup of tea because I'm gonna drink that. And being intentional to make sure that we are not just letting anyone, whether they're friend or foe, because you might have a friend that might want to give you some sugar, and you're still. It's important for us to be open enough to receive that blessing without the judgment of who that person is, and just acknowledging that truth. So that's something that came up for me when I was hearing you speak, Julio, and I think that is so powerful that you're taking initiative to make sure that you're mindful about the content. So thank you for being a badass, brother. Thank you. I appreciate that. And yeah, and then with that being said, the last thing I want to bring up is stream ownership. Stream ownership is really what I want to end this on. We started the conversation with ownership, but I think stream ownership is what is really required in today's world for most people. I think, there are some people who take it to, to a destructive extent when they're actually being destructive, but most people, they don't take enough ownership. So my question to you guys, so as we land the plane, and we end the call, is in what area of your life are you planning to take stream ownership now?
All areas, personal, professional, because how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Sure. Okay, give me one top one though. Because you found a loophole. You found a loophole in my question. So that's good. Give me the top one though.
Family, because I have two families. And then the second one is career. Really extreme ownership in my career and really stepping into my leadership position.
Money. How about you, Aaron?
And my family, for sure.
Love it, Sean.
Julio unmuted before me.
Oh,
Go
my
ahead,
bad.
Julio.
Oh,
Go ahead, Julio.
Oh, sure. For me, extreme ownership in my productivity. That's what I'm focused on right now. I just want to, keep working hard, do good work, and make my hours count.
Let's go.
I'll piggyback on that. I'm taking stream ownership in my own energy. Sean, how about yourself, my brother?
So for me, I'm going to take extreme ownership over discernment, because what is the first thing that Sun Tzu mentions in the Art of War? What is the most powerful form of warfare? It's deception. If we don't have discernment, the art of war destroys us here, gang. In Sun Tzu's Art of War, the most powerful, I'm going to repeat this again, guys, because we need to remember this. The most powerful form of warfare is not nuclear weapons. It's not, I have 10 million strong and they have rocket launchers. No. The most powerful form of warfare is deception. So if we don't have discernment, we don't know how to cancel people out of our life who are deceiving us. And in my opinion, it doesn't matter who they are. If they're deceiving us, they need to be permanently removed from our life. It doesn't matter who they are. If they're trying to deceive us, they need to be removed from our life. It could be our mother. It could be our father. It could be anybody. It could be your wife. It could be your husband. When we do that, when we set a strict boundary of no deception, then we live an actual excellent life here. We really do. And it's painful and it's hard. But if we know people are actively deceiving us, they need to be canceled out of our life.
Even if they're a big booty Latina, bro?
Even if they're a gigantic.
Bro, like, Julio, what if I choose
even if those
ignore it?
nalgas talk for days, bro.
But I can't, what if I put it off, till, I'm okay with a little deception here. I'm just kidding.
She only lies sometimes,
Not
not all the
even.
time.
Not even.
Intentional deception.
Especially.
Deception is an energy field first that we all possess. And if we don't integrate it, then we deceive others and ourselves.
Definitely. I agree. We attract what we are. And with that said, Ken, my brother, how about you? We haven't heard from you as well. What are you taking stream ownership for in this season of your life?
definitely, I am being very intentional about two things. Is kind of like what Julio was saying, what I'm putting in my mind. At least very intentional with the knowledge that I'm trying to gain. I could be a little better, certainly, with like other things that I should not be putting in my mind, but definitely as far as like the things that I want to be researching, I'm definitely being very intentional about like I only have so much time in a day. I want to make sure I'm learning the most direct thing, like what's going to move the needle forward the most for me right here, right now, as opposed to like, oh, well, I could be watching this podcast and reading this book. And then the other thing is just how I'm showing up for people in general. You guys mentioned a lot, your families. I think I could definitely, I'll own up that I could show up a little better for my family, but because I spend so much time at work, the majority of the people I interact with are at work, so I want to make sure. Recently, I've been a little more cognizant, I guess, of just like making sure that I'm really present, making sure that I'm listening, making sure that if I do choose to engage somebody in a conversation, I really give them the best of me, not just like, the casual drive by, yeah, 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 cool, nice day, cool, have a great day, see you later. Like I've been another thing, I guess I'll mention the third thing. I've been very intentional about slowing down. So kind of along those same lines, being present, but like specifically, I am a very like my anxiety makes me run around and overthink and do so many things. And like these past few weeks, I'd say definitely within the last 2 weeks, but I'd say a little bit broader range. I've just like really savored life, really just slowed down every breath, every step, every move. And you know what? It's crazy because like I feel myself achieve flow state so much more often and so much longer. So now it's just like I feel myself completely enveloped in this flow state. I'm like, I like it here. I'm not leaving. Obviously, it's not
Yes.
completely sustainable forever, but I'm like, you know what? For as long as I can keep it, let's keep it. Because, bro, it's like dancing. It's like I don't even know how to explain it. It's like you know what you're doing and you're just doing it flawlessly. Every movement is just calculated, no mistakes. I couldn't explain it to you guys. It's the most wonderful feeling in the world.
Brother, I think you landed the plane perfectly. Let's land the plane on conscious competence. When you get to that flow state where you can live in a way where you're so competent that you're unconscious about it, like you're just flowing, just doing your thing, and that's beautiful. Ken, you're dropping some gems, bro. I see you winning, bro. I see you stepping up. It makes me happy to see you, level up and really be intentional about this. This was such a fucking powerful conversation. I'm all about cutting everyone off at right at the time, but we were cooking so much, we went a little bit past the time. So I want to end it here so I can respect all you guys' times, and you guys get back to your lives and enjoy the rest of your Monday. But with that being said, I appreciate all of you guys for being on here and being engaged, being actually and willing to interact and add value. So I appreciate each and every single one of you kings for being down, and for everyone watching this, whether it's night or day, whenever you watch this, I appreciate you for taking the time and giving us your time and attention, because that's your most valuable asset. So the fact that you're giving that to us and being willing to listen to this conversation means the world. So we appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Let's elevate. Let's stay in that flow state, like Ken said. Let's keep going.
Woo!
Sheesh.
Thanks, Carlos. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all. Have a good one.
You too. See you next time.